What is going on, Cincinnati Bengals talk? You said we're good, Andrew. Either way, what's going on, people? It looks like we're good on our end. So welcome into Cincinnati Bengals talk. I'm James Rapien. It's great to be with you on a Tuesday night with plenty to discuss. The 3-1 Bengals, first time they're 3-1 since 2018. And we have a lot to dive into, from Joe Burrow to a defense, to your questions, and the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers coming to town 5 days from now. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new. If you're not, if you're one of the 7,000 plus that have subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. I want to start tonight with a quick note. It's something I was kind of informed of today that I might have overlooked at one point or another. But as you know, Andrew and I, we do our live streams like this. We do our videos and my stand-ups, whether it's on the road or here in Cincinnati at Paul Brown Stadium or here in Rapien Manor, or, we do the news conferences. And we were told, NFL rules-wise, that we can't do full news conferences anymore. So we'll still give you some clips here and there, but just a heads up that the channel is going to be morphing a little bit, just because apparently we've violated some rules that the NFL had in place. So I just wanted to let you know that. It's nothing we're changing or we're choosing to change, and it's not on the Bengals either, by the way. So I don't want you thinking it is, because it's certainly not. So with that being said, let's dive into things, and let's start with Joe Burrow, because to me, what a game he played on Thursday night. And I know he's going to be mic'd up in like an hour and we'll be off by then. But Joe Burrow is that dude. And the past 2 weeks, we've seen it. And I was in Pittsburgh, and I saw just how calm he was, how comfortable he was throwing just 18 passes. There aren't many young quarterbacks that are going to be comfortable doing that. They're not going to be, satisfied with that. And yet, he was, because they were winning, and he was in tune enough to still throw, the deep ball to Chase and keep the offense moving. And to me, and I was talking with Jake Lisco about this earlier today on Locked On Bengals, which you should subscribe to right here on YouTube. One thing that when we talk about with Joe Burrow, if he reaches his ceiling, is, he's got a lot of traits like Brady. Like the pre-snap stuff, the mental game, the competitiveness, the fieriness, the it factor, which we really can't define by numbers, right? And that over the past 2 weeks, that kind of is proof. Is 1 week, 14 of 18, $172, wins on the road against an AFC North opponent that has kicked their ass, let's be honest, in Pittsburgh since 2015, much like Brady the other night. Right, where he just finds a way to get it done on the road in a weird, unique environment, and wasn't on his game. His receivers certainly weren't. Antonio Brown blew it at the end, but they still found a way to win. And you hope, I think, if you're a Bengals fan, that's what happens, is he becomes the next Brady. And, it's much easier said than done. But if he's 90% of that, I think you take it. And I certainly think the trajectory is looking that way. One thing I wrote yesterday for allbengals.com was the argument of Burrow being the best quarterback in the division. And get your questions in, by the way. I haven't showed them yet, but I can't wait to read a lot of those chats, a lot of those comments. We'll certainly get to those coming up in just a few minutes. But best quarterback in the North, I think that's realistic. And when you look at the numbers, I get it. Baker Mayfield dealing with a little bit of a shoulder. I get it. Lamar Jackson dinged up, dealing with a back injury. He's a mobile quarterback. At the same time, and obviously Ben Roethlisberger's fourth on the list regardless, but at the same time, I think by mid-year, if Burrow keeps trending upward, which I expect him to do, I don't think we've seen Burrow's ceiling for this year by any stretch. I think there's much more that he can do, that this offense can do. I think they're just scratching the surface, which is really exciting for the Bengals fans out there, because they're 3-1. And I don't think we've seen the best of Burrow yet. I don't think we've seen the best of this offensive line or Zach Taylor's offense or even Joe Mixon in the running game. So to me, that's the exciting thing, is you could really see Joe Burrow becoming the best quarterback in this division, and numbers-wise has been the best quarterback in this division through the first 4 weeks of the season. And it's going to be put to the test on Sunday. Look, this offense is going to have to score against Aaron Rodgers. Even if Jesse Bates is back and Chidobe Awuzie is back and, DJ Reader plays well and Larry Ogunjobi plays well, you know damn well Aaron Rodgers is going to throw up a bunch of points at Paul Brown Stadium. You better believe Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, they're going to come to play. And so you got to think 30. I've been harping on this really all offseason and going into the season, and the Bengals, they haven't scored 30 in a game yet, but they have to score 30 plus in a game like this on Sunday, to me. Because if you do that, you give yourself a real chance to win against an elite quarterback, against the future Hall of Famer, against a player that everybody in Cincinnati hopes and Bengals fans across the land hope Burrow can emulate and become one day, or at least like in Aaron Rodgers. And so when you have that coming to town, it's going to be hard for me to blame Lou Anarumo if the defense gives up 30 plus. And so that's what I'm looking for this week. Feels like T. Higgins is going to be back, even without Joe Mixon. I think whether it's someone calling him Jackpot Joey or my personal favorite for Joe Burrow's nickname Joey Franchise, which I think CJ Uzama should trademark. I don't know if he has yet, but he certainly should. I think he's capable of doing it. And that's what's fun about this week, because you can kind of go back and forth about the first 4 weeks, right? Week 1, well, week 1's weird. And the Vikings, are they really that good? Week 2, I actually think it's the other way for the Bengals there, that they kind of laid an egg on the road when it was against a team both quarterbacks, by the way, that they should have beat. Week 3, how good is Pittsburgh really? Ben Roethlisberger is done. Week 4, look, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we know how big of a dumpster fire it is in northern Florida right now with everything going on with Urban Meyer. So this is the first game where it's like there is no excuse. Like if you win there, the opposing side, the national media, which I know a lot of people had an issue with, Sports Illustrated's power rankings today, for example, which I posted at allbengals.com. All of that stuff, that's the signature win. That's the UC versus Notre Dame type of win. And no, I'm not saying it's the biggest game in Bengals franchise history or anything like that, like some were saying about the UC football program, but it's a prove-it game. And that's what's fun about this week, especially if Bates is out there and Higgins is out there and some of those main players, even if you don't have Mixon, which I think there is a chance that Mixon plays, and Zach Taylor seemed optimistic. We'll see how he feels tomorrow. But I think that's the thing I'm looking forward most this week, looking forward to it, is to see where are the Bengals, right? Because I think the Packers are up here. And I think they could be right back in the NFC Championship game for a third straight season. Paul Brown Stadium is going to be rocking. There's going to be some Packers fans. Can the Bengals show they're here? Or because I think most people have them here, a tier or two below the Packers. But that can change, and it can change quick when you have a young quarterback like Joe Burrow. So with that being said, you guys have a lot of comments. And look, you can hear me on a lot of platforms. So instead of, listening to me ramble on as I let's see, take this one out. Bye, Andrew. I was on the phone with our executive producer, digital producer, editor, whatever the hell you want to call him, Andrew Fox Miller. You should follow him on Twitter, by the way. He's close to 1,000 Twitter followers, and I know he's been itching to get to that mark. But with that said, let's do some chats here. I'm going to scroll all the way up and start from the beginning. We'll see if I can get through as many. Will I fall out of my chair? That's the real question. This is great from Brian. Hell no, I won't fall out of my chair, Brian, because I don't dance on Cincinnati Bengals talk. We're only doing a little shimmy or the heavy dancing at least. I saved that for Locked On Bengals. So that's another reason why you should subscribe to that. Let's see here. I did get all dressed up for you. All right. Let's get some questions here. Oh, I know you guys are upset about the news conferences. I get that. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. Packers defense without Jair Alexander and T. Bates Awuzie all set to return. Bengals finally starting to get lucky. We'll see. And Andrew, I appreciate you bringing this up because it's so important. When I think back to 2015, the Bengals start 8-0. Part of the reason why they started 8-0, let's not be crazy here. Of course, they were talented. They were also the healthiest team in the league. And they didn't deal with injuries until the end, they stub their toe. Andy Dalton gets hurt. They're dealing with multiple injuries, and suddenly they, fall to 12-4 after the 8-0 start. You can't tell me they don't win in Denver if Dalton is healthy. AJ McCarron fumbling, just a couple things like that. I know McCarron was all right, but if they win that game in Denver, they get the bye, and then, who knows what happens. And unfortunately, injuries, such a big part of whether you have success or not. Joe Burrow is like Joe Montana and Tom Brady and Troy Aikman's body. You think so? Do you think Troy Aikman's body? That's interesting. I don't know if I agree with that part. I did see Troy on Thursday night, by the way. Didn't say anything to him, but he was there since it was a Fox game. But yeah, if Joe Cool wasn't taken, I think that would be better than maybe Joey Franchise. These are funny. Honest fan. I want your honest gut opinion on keeping Zach Taylor versus a Joe Brady reunion. I don't give a damn about Joe Brady right now. I don't give a damn about Joe Brady or Eric Bieniemy or Marvin Lewis or insert whoever the hell else you want to talk about. Because look, Zach Taylor's 3-1. And the reason I took this question, honest fan, isn't to be an insult to you. I just think there's a lot of fans out there that think about that, like, Zach Taylor. And, 2 weeks ago, he was the favorite to be the first coach fired. Well, I'll tell you right now, I didn't think it was going to happen then. And now that he's beating the Steelers and the Jags, and you got the Lions on the schedule, you got the Jets on the schedule, like, I think they're going to be around 500 worst case. So, no, I don't see it happening this season. Now, Joe Brady has got a lot to prove. And right now the Bengals are 3-1. So I'm going to enjoy that and talk about that, not worried about the offseason. It's like asking me a draft question right now, which I'll get some here and there. It's like, do you want a corner? Do you want an offensive line? It's got to be offensive line. I really don't give a damn yet. Honestly, I'm not there. And that's one of those things. All right, let's see here. What are your keys to the game? My guy, Strawberry Ice. What are your keys to the game to beating the Packers? Well, I kind of mentioned the first one. You got to score. I mean, you're going to have to score. This is why I was in favor of Jamar Chase. You want to beat the Chiefs. You want to beat the Bills. You want to handle business against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals or a team like the Packers. You got to put up points. Because if you're scoring 20 a game, Aaron Rodgers on his worst day is going to find a way to get to 21. Welcome to the NFL in 2021. And I get it. You got to keep your quarterback upright. And everyone used the Super Bowl. Oh, Kansas City couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes. And you know what? The haymakers that the Chiefs deliver week in and week out on offense against teams, I know they're struggling early on this year, 2-2. They deliver. And they put themselves in a position to win because they're putting so much pressure on opposing defenses. And I certainly think Jamar Chase does that. Other keys to the game include you got to get pressure on Rodgers, right? So if you can get a lead early and then you get pressure on him, make him uncomfortable, frustrate him a little bit, he's known to throw a few up. Not as much. He's pretty efficient, but every once in a while he'll give you one. So that would be my thing. And you're going to hear it all week, make him one-dimensional. I don't necessarily think that's the case. If you can get to an early lead and they decide to run the ball and you're holding them to 4 yards a carry, you'll take that because Aaron Rodgers, well, he can hit you for 40 yards a throw, and you don't want to deal with that. Let's get another question here. A lot of comments. This is actually, I'm going to mention this. So Andrew says, where does Zach go to drink like Urban Liar? And regardless of how the Zach Taylor era ends up, right, where it ends in a Super Bowl and in 10 years of 1,000 wins, whatever the case is, maybe he's here for the next 35 years, right? He's a grown-up and he's smart and he's not going to be an idiot. And I trust in that. And so from that aspect, I think he deserves all the credit. And his players certainly buy in to what he's doing right now. I don't question that one bit. Now, can you question whether or not it's right, whether he's pulling all the right punches, whether he's doing all the right things? Absolutely. For example, 2nd and 16 on Thursday night, you never run the ball on 2nd and 16 again, unless there's just no defensive lineman, unless the defense has all 11 guys 16 yards off the ball. If that's the case, then sure, run it, but maybe don't run it and just throw it to Chase and let him run it, because I think that would still be more effective. So, yeah, I mean, it's fair to question Zach, on a lot of things. There's no denying that. And I think I've been pretty fair in my criticism of Zach Taylor, but I'll never worry about his ability to do the right things off the field. Samuel asks, and this was a lot of fun. James, did you have a lot of fun at your Thursday night football meet and greet? Yes, absolutely. Shout out to all of the listeners and watchers that I got to meet at the Blind Pig. I know, Jake Lisco was there. Joe Goodberry was there. Bengals captain was there. I think he's watching this right now. And, a lot of other Bengals personalities were there. Bengal Jim was there. And it was a lot of fun. It was to see you guys in person. And really for the first time since being back, because when I took the job at Sports Illustrated for allbengals.com, COVID had just really started and gone haywire. And it was like, oh, this is a pandemic. This isn't a 2-week thing, right? Because I took the job. April 5th was my first day of 2020. And it was wild. I didn't get to see many of you last year. Didn't get to meet really anybody in person. And, didn't get to be on the field like normal. Didn't get to do a lot of that stuff. But, before the game, after the game. And this year, while we're not back to normal, it was certainly good to see everybody. And if you missed it, Andrew Miller put together like a 40-second little highlight clip that I tweeted out. You could check the timeline at James Rapien on Twitter. Maybe we'll get that up on YouTube or something somewhere at some point. All right, let's keep this going with a focus on the Packers. Scott H. asks, what's the chance of the defense holding Rodgers in check? Well, they're going to have to do a bunch of things. And the blueprint, I thought it was really interesting what New England did the other night to Tom Brady. Look, you can't blitz these good quarterbacks every play. They're just too good. And it's weird to say this, but I think Rodgers is a little less mobile now than he was, say, 2, 3, 4 years ago, which is fair. He's getting a little older. Arm's still amazing. Can throw, 50 yards on a frozen rope and at a moment's notice, just crush you. But to me, get pressure on him early. Hit him often. And you might get a mistake or two. But the other part of this, and the real key, you have to apply the pressure on offense. You have to score. Pedal to the metal. You're up 12. You're up 13. You're up 16. That's nothing for Aaron Rodgers, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say the Bengals are up 24-10 at halftime on Sunday against the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Much like the Bengals were down 14-0 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they felt like they were very much still in the game, that is exactly how the Packers are going to feel. They are not going to be beaten down. They are not going to be that worried. They are not going to be concerned. They're going to be comfortable. And they're going to think they're still going to come back and win the game. So you just need to pressure Rodgers. Obviously, if you can, stonewall the run game, that helps every week, any week. But if you can pressure Rodgers and then apply pressure by scoring, I think that's the key. I made it really simple because it's much harder than that. But that's it. Because, if it's haymaker after haymaker on offense, deep to Chase. All right, Chris Evans with the touchdown, which, by the way, I could see that happening this week. The 6th rounder's electric. I was shocked at how little he was on the field against the Jaguars. I had him on the field for, I think it was 8 snaps. I made a pregame bean pool, we'll say, with the other beat writers. And 8 snaps, and I was way off. I think he had 2 offensive snaps, but I certainly think that that's one of them. Let's see. Let's keep this going here. All right. Bengals captain. Speaking of the devil, I'm surprised he made it here on his own. Did you have the wife log you in, Bengals captain, to make sure that you were able to make it anyways? James, there have been chances at big plays early in games, but for various reasons, we haven't gotten it done. Regardless about what you think of play calling, are you seeing that confidence back in Burrow like we are, and you think he'll take more chances early? I do. And I think that they know they have to be on it right away, starting this week against Green Bay, because they're playing with fire a bit with these slower starts. And it cost them against Chicago, a team they should have beat. They should have kicked Chicago's ass. Let's be honest. They should have. They had the better quarterback. They have more talent. And, they got in a hole. And when it was time to make a play or two and time for Burrow to take over, he wasn't able to. And that happens sometimes when you dig yourself into a hole. You don't want to put Burrow in that back against the wall. All right, man, you got to complete 17 out of 20 in the second half and bring us back. It's tough to do week in and week out. And going back to keys to Green Bay, you want to put Rodgers in that position. You better be on your ball, Aaron. Otherwise, we're going to win. Like that's part of the keys to the game. But as far as the first quarter goes, absolutely. I think they knew that going into the Thursday game, how important a quick start was. And it just kind of went downhill fast. They get off to the quick start, and then the offensive pass interference on Jamar Chase kind of derailed that first drive. And then they missed the field goal. And that's when I think it opened things up. That, along with the defense getting caught off guard by some of what the Jags were doing offensively, certainly cost them a little bit. But they were able to overcome it. I don't think this week is the week to think you can overcome that. So a deep ball to Chase, wouldn't be shocked at all if we see that. I also think that if I'm the Packers, especially with Jair Alexander out, I'm probably double covering Chase. And I'm going to say, okay, look, I get it. T. Higgins is really good. I get it. Tyler Boyd is really good. But Jamar Chase has 4 touchdowns in 4 games. Jamar Chase has been dominant in every big play on offense by a receiver this year, like huge downfield play seems to go to number 1. So I'm not going to let number 1 beat us, and I'm going to make someone else beat us. And I think we're getting to that point. This might not be the week. It might be another week. But at some point, a defense is going to say that if he keeps having downfield success. But no, I think Burrow's comfortable, and I think his confidence right now might be higher than it was at times last season because of the success he's had with the deep ball. I put some numbers up, whether it's yards per attempt, obviously, yards per completion, all these different numbers, and they're all up at allbengals.com. Even his passer rating on throws of 20 yards or more, it's awesome. It's great, and I think that that's kind of the key to unlocking this offense all the way. And so far, his progress, his improvement with the deep ball, A+. So him coming off the injury, I was concerned about it. I remember in January, bro's like, yeah, one thing I'm going to get better at this offseason is the deep ball. And I'm like, bro, just get your knee right. Don't worry about the deep ball. Don't think about the deep ball or it's getting your arm stronger or, because he had all these goals and things. And look, is his arm that much stronger? I don't know. I don't know if I notice it like that. I see him every day or almost every day, at least to a degree. So maybe it is a little stronger. I think his mechanics are better. If you ask people that would know, they would say that. And he's certainly more accurate with the deep ball. So I love that that he's there. And I think why not try deep downfield early on in the game? All right, let's see here. Do you expect Ricardo Allen back? Scott asks. Yeah, I do. The way Zach Taylor made it sound on Monday, it sounds like they're waiting for final clearance. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that on Wednesday morning so he can practice Wednesday afternoon, because they didn't drop the news today. And I know some teams did where they opened up the practice window for guys on IR. I think that could start tomorrow for Ricardo Allen. And if he comes back this week, you can give Rodgers that 3 safety look, which gives you just more flexibility, more versatility. And I will say this about Ricardo Allen. He has been working on the side and working hard on the side on the rehab field. So certainly something worth taking into account when thinking about his status. And like I said, Zach did seem optimistic the other day when talking about that. I expect a 34-point game from the Bengals for John. That's interesting. I expect this to be a mini blowout. Yeah, I don't. All right. I'm never going to say, oh, yeah, the Bengals are going to go blow out Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm just not going to do that. Like, I think that Aaron Rodgers could beat any team in the league on any given Sunday for sure, even though I don't think it's the best team in the league. As far as injury updates go, as Honest Fan asks, so I already did Ricardo Allen. Jesse Bates, I expect him to go this week. We'll see. But I would expect him to practice tomorrow if I had to predict. Mixon, I'm a little leery on, honestly. I just am. You got one former NFL doctor saying it's going to be week to week. Then, Adam Schefter comes out with his report, and then Zach Taylor says, nah, he's day to day. I never said he was week to week. And he never did. But we'll see. We'll see if he's able to go this week. We know how the Bengals are. They play it safe with their players, which is smart. It's a 17-game season. You don't want a 1-week injury to turn into a 4-week injury. I think it is good, though. We're not talking about injured reserve or anything like that, at least at this point. All right, let's continue here. Any other good ones? Oh yeah. There's a lot of comments. I appreciate the chatter. That's fun too. This game could come down to coaching and clock management. It's time for Zach to shine, says Edward. And I'll put that one out there. And look, that's the next step for this team to me, is handling business against a winning team with a winning pedigree and a winning tradition, elite quarterback, and doing it under some pressure. Because it's different doing it against Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, because they have doubt in their minds. Like I said, if the Bengals are up 24-10 in the fourth quarter, there's not going to be a damn seed of doubt in that Green Bay locker room. They are not going to care. They're going to be like, all right, we're going to fix this, this, and this. Let's go win the game. We've done it for 15 years. As far as with Aaron Rodgers, 13 years. I think he started his first game in Green Bay. I know he's been there since 05, but was in 08. So, like that's real. And that's the part of it. So, yeah, it's going to come down to, when it's 20-20 or 24-24 or 30-27, the Packers aren't going to have any doubts. And the Bengals can't either. And that's the exciting thing. Like I think back in this Bengals team, to me, some of you will remember this, some of you won't. It's a damn shame that I'm already at this age where I have to preface things and stories like that with that sentence. But, like the 04 Bengals, even the 05 Bengals, which was such a fun season for this city, for the fan base, there was a lot of prove it moments. And, there were times when you went into a game. I'll give you an example. 04 against New England. I don't think anyone really expected the Bengals to win. You're just hoping for them to have a good showing. And the bad part about where Zach is after 2 years, we're past that. Even though the wins didn't come, we're past the moral victories or the good showings. And so he's got to make almost a double leap in year 3, where Marvin was in year 3, right? Where it was 11-5. Like, Zach should have a winning season this year. And that means going toe-to-toe with a Green Bay Packers team that's going to be, hungry. Matt LaFleur is a young coach, much like Zach Taylor, offensive mind, been to back-to-back NFC championship games, has won a ton of games. I mean, his winning percentage, it's almost like the opposite of Zach, right? He walked into a let's win now, and he's been able to win now. And it's going to be a tough game for sure. And that's why I think the Packers right now, I think they're favored by 3 or so at Paul Brown Stadium. Let's see here. Let's keep going. All right. Sean asks, saw the depth chart for Sunday. Carmen's back on the bench. I think he should continue to start. Thoughts? All right. So those depth charts, and this is for everybody, just to throw it out there. Those depth charts are they're very tentative. They're not exact. They're not necessarily even what the coaches are going to go by play one. They're unofficial depth charts. And so, yeah, could they slide Carmen in there as the starting right guard? They could. But he's going to start this week. I'd be shocked if he didn't. I'd be shocked if he didn't start next week in Detroit. I think that's kind of where things are going, but there's no need to make a change until you have to make a change. And right now, Xavier Su'a-Filo is still day-to-day, according to Zach Taylor. So that's part of it. So, yeah, like, especially in training camp, like Michael Jordan was the first team guard. And really the only fear in that wasn't the fact that he was the first team guard on the depth chart, except for the bad optics, but it was the fact that he was getting those reps in practice. And now he's looking for a job. I don't think anybody claimed him. So, maybe someone did, but Carolina released him yesterday. Let's see. Dressed up for us, blazer and swim trunks? Yeah, Chris, my guy Chris Zimmerman. I actually got some Jordan shorts on. They're comfy, like cotton shorts, the perfect night shorts that I got on. But yeah, I got you a little blazer action, at least for a little bit here. Nick Suberling, my man, met Nick on Thursday night. If my memory serves correctly, isn't said producer a cheesehead? Yeah, Andrew Fox Miller, his family, they are big Packers fans, and so the Bengals are actually Andrew's favorite team. I'm going to speak for him on this. But his second team, which he's had to default to a second team for much of his adult life, he's like 36 or so. He's basically January on, he's had to be a Packers fan for most of his life. Rotations, Carmen will have plays, but Philo should start. Really? Austin, you think Xavier Su'a-Filo should start? I disagree. I would start Jackson Carman. I think they're about the same, but there's more upside with Carman. He's younger. I think he's more athletic, and he gives you the same amount of reliability / breakdowns because he's going to have both. So why not play the younger guy and see if he can get better and improve with reps? Let's keep going. Troy Aikman is 6'4", like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is 6'3". I know some said 6'4". I think Joe Burrow is 6'3". All right. Let's see. 10-7 playoffs. Says Dime Life Killer in 2K. Oh, you dropping buckets in 2K, huh? Maybe. Look, I think it's very realistic to expect that type of record based on what we've seen through 4 weeks. But me personally, I need to see Sunday. I need to see toe-to-toe against this team that is thinking it's going to come in here and beat the hell out of a team that only won 6 games in 2 years going into this season. That's probably what they're thinking in Green Bay. And look, they know Burrow's talented, and they know Chase, and it's different when you go toe-to-toe with a team like the Packers. And I think if they compete and find a way to win, 10-7 is very, very much in the running. This is a good point. Antoine says, feel we need to be the team who scores first. And yeah, I think so. I think you gotta get off to a fast start against Green Bay. Against bad teams like Detroit in a couple of weeks, if you get down 10-0, it's not the end of the world. Certainly not what I want to do. See, against bad teams, my ideal world is tell them that they're bad and show them that they're bad. Because the longer that you allow a bad team to hang around, the more confident they get that they can actually win this game and steal it. You don't want to give them any hope. Yeah, I think that's fair. Why give Zach faith when he can't even score 30 points with all this talent on offense? Well, Kyle, there's a bunch there. I do think that there's some bad with Zach, right? Even this year, 3-1. I think the play calling is questionable. I think certain things that he's done, specifically early in games, questionable. But it's a balancing act, and they're trying to take essentially 2 offenses. Last year, they did this empty LSU style, let's make life easy on Burrow. And this year, they're doing West Coast offense, true NFL offense, and some empty stuff, and let's mix it all together and blend it together into this perfect offense. And it's just going to take some time, especially with Burrow coming off of an injury. And so earlier in the show, I said, look, 3-1, that's great for everything that they've left on the table offensively, for them just scratching the surface offensively. And so, look, he's got a lot to prove still. I'm not crowning him. I'm not saying sign him to a contract extension or that the Bengals have their head coach of the present and future. I just don't know. I think the early signs are pretty good based on the results. But does this offense at some point need to put up 30-plus per week? Absolutely. When they play the Browns, guess what they're going to have to do? Go up against a good defense and score points anyways. When they play the Ravens, guess what they're going to have to do? Exact same thing. This Sunday against the Packers, regardless of who plays for Green Bay on defense, they have to put up points. That's what this team is built around. The defense being as good as it is, that to me, they'll say it's not unexpected. Unexpected to me. Surprise to me. Which raises their ceiling for the season if the offense can get to where I think they should be able to get to. All right, let's see. Joe asks, obviously it's early, but how do you feel about the Bengals compared to the rest of the NFL top teams now and in the future? Well, it comes down to a couple things. Zach Taylor is one of them. Joe Burrow. And look, the offensive line, can they be better? Absolutely. But it's going to come down to points, and the defense doing what it's done over the first 4 weeks. So if you can get pressure on the quarterback and make some plays and force some key turnovers, which they've done consistently, and on the flip side, put up points, then I think they can compete with any of those teams. But will they be able to fully unlock and unleash Burrow this week? That's to me is the key to them potentially, and I say it's potentially beating a team like the Green Bay Packers. Kyle says Zach is a nice guy, but a mediocre coach at best. I don't know that. I really don't. I don't know that, and I don't want to just say that yet. I think he is a nice guy. I wasn't questioning that. But as far as like mediocre coach, I don't know that yet. All right, let's see. The chat is moving quick here. Why do we run Mixon on first down every time? It seems too predictable. Zach, I actually think the Bengals offense has been fine on first down, and the numbers say that. You know where they've been bad? Second downs. They've been awful on second downs, and that's something they need to figure out because, my Lord, I mean, you look at the numbers. My co-host on Locked On Bengals, Jake Lisco, ran them a few weeks ago, and then you think back to Thursday, and the 2nd and 16. I think there was, a second down sack. There's some second down stuff. Like, they do need to figure that part out because you can't run the ball on 2nd and 16, and you have to find a way to get positive yardage and not 2 yards or 4 yards on. Because, like, if you run it on 2nd and 16 and you get 5 yards, that's not good. You need to be throwing it and trying to get 8, 9, 10 yards. So it is 3rd and manageable because you get 5 yards on 2nd and 16. Well, it's still 3rd and long. And it's not that much different. And that's something to pay attention to. If Mixon is out against the Packers, do you think we'll see the training wheels off Burrow this week? It's a good question. I think so. I do. Because you're not going to be able to rely on Samaje Perine, running the ball 20 times. And I also think that you're going to see more Chris Evans, obviously. And I think Chris Evans is a player. And he can be used in a lot of ways. Look for him to run wheel routes out of the backfield. I wouldn't be shocked if you see him, run a deep, like I said, go deep a couple times. He can do it all as a pass catcher. He looks like a receiver at times. And so you can do empty with him. You can have him run and go up against linebackers for sure. Nickel corners, I think he can out-muscle them. He's not going to out-quick them, but can out-muscle them. So we'll see. But, yeah, I think they'll have to let the training wheels off of Burrow, so to speak. Do you feel the Bengals universe and fan base is starting to change the national, airwaves? That I think the only thing that does that is wins. And 3-1 is a damn good start. And this win would, this game Sunday, if they win, is going to go such a long way into grabbing the nation and showing them that the Bengals are for real. Like if Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow and Brian Callahan and Lou Anarumo, if they were looking for a game, and I get it, it's a 1 o'clock Sunday, Paul Brown State. If they were looking for a game, this is the game to really show, hey, we're for real. We're not going anywhere. We're 4-1. We just beat Aaron Rodgers in the 2-time NFC title game. I almost said champions, but they're not because they choked both times. One to Tom Brady, who's the GOAT. By the way, I was rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that game, but that's neither here nor there. My point being, I was doing that to bother my guy, Andrew Fox Miller. My point being is it would prove a lot if they're able to win on Sunday. Skip says Bengals 13-4. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. This is a good one. Tanner asks, what was your favorite narrative going into the season you knew that was going to be wrong? Well, the big one, and I had to cover it because it was a fair thing, but I never thought Jamar would struggle. You could go back to videos between Sewell and Chase and all that stuff. I said Chase was the right pick. I thought Chase was the right pick even when he was dropping balls. Even when I wrote, the headline, Jamar Chase's drops are officially an issue. They were an issue. And the people that read that article, and a lot of people read it, a lot of people read the headline and then ripped me for it, which is fine. It comes with the business. But a lot of people read the headline, didn't read the article. And in the article, it's like, look, they're an issue. How big of an issue? It depends on how Jamar responds. And he responded with work and work and work and work. And that was the part of me, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, he's responding the right way. Like if you get hit with adversity and then you shrivel up and you go in the corner, well, then you're probably not, it's not going to work out. And Jamar didn't do that. He talked openly about the drops, and national media got on him about that and wrote some crazy clickbaity ass headlines that I tried to debunk. because I was never trying to be clickbaity. I was trying to be honest because I think the draft issues were an issue. And I think they could still come up here and there. That being said, I never thought that he was the wrong pick. And he was dominant at 19 years old and took 16, 18 months off. And he's on pace now to have the best rookie season from a wide receiver in Bengals history and one of the best ever. So we'll see if he keeps that up. But that would certainly be one of them. All right, let's see here. I want the Bengals in the AFC Championship game this year. Whew. They do that, man. I think let's just say this. It'll be a fun time to cover them. If they make an AFC title game run, I'll tell you that. I mean, who do they lose to then? Do they lose to Buffalo? You got them losing to the Chiefs? Because I don't see them losing to the Ravens or the Browns, anyone in the division if they make it that far. The defense has been the biggest improvement, Sage Ohio says. I think that's fair so far. I do. I mean, it's been certainly the biggest surprise to me is the trench play. I thought the secondary was pretty good on paper coming into this year. Jesse Bates, best player on the team. Von Bell, we know what he brought. He finished strong last year. He's been better in coverage, and they've been using him around the line of scrimmage and as that third linebacker at times, which I certainly like. But, you got a playmaker in Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie, and Trey Wayne's back now. And I thought Wayne's overall played pretty well. And, the Laviska Shenault catch deep downfield, that's a good play by him and a great play by Trevor Lawrence. But overall, I thought Wayne's had a good debut. But the trenches. I mean, Trey Hendrickson has been great. For what all the analytic people said about, man, all of his sacks are cleanup sacks, and he's not going to generate pressure. And, oh, my goodness, all that concern about him being a downgrade from Carl Lawson. I think Carl Lawson was really, really, really good. I think Trey Hendrickson's been a better fit, and he's done exactly what the Bengals signed him to do. Larry Ogunjobi, the goal was what? Putting him in the 3-tech role and let him just create havoc and wreck defenses. He's done it. DJ Reader, when they signed him last April, it's exactly what they planned on is what we're seeing now. And Josh Tupou's played well. BJ Hill, what a steal he was. Man, I mean, he's playing great. And so they're deep on the interior of the defensive line. So deep that I think a guy in Mike Daniels, who's a rotation piece on a pretty good defensive line, I think, on a lot of teams, is on the practice squad. So it shows you how deep they are. So that's been certainly pleasant to see. Why the Dwayne Wade photo in the background? That's an autographed Dwayne Wade photo. Let's see. I got to move my head this way. Autographed Dwayne Wade photo. It's because he's my favorite basketball player of all time. That's why. I'm pulling no punches. A favorite basketball player, and that's next to the Kobe Sports Illustrated. Sorry, it's hard to get these right. But no, man, it's pretty simple to me. That's why. All right. Let's see here. Get a mullet, James. No chance. No chance is that happening. My hair's already long for me. I need this thing cut. All right. It's already about time to get this haircut. We'll see. Stop the second down runs, please, says Noah. Absolutely stop the second down runs. All right. Man, people just coming in here and choosing violence. I mean, who mentioned Randy Bullock? Look at Big Jim. Just Fat Randy with another game-losing miss. Yeah, that's why they drafted Evan McPherson. That's why I told you he was money. That's why I told you it was the right pick in the 5th round. And that goes to something I do want to give credit to. This coaching staff, and they're 3-1, and hell, they may end up 3-14. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen. My point is, it could blow up in their face. But when you look over the past 2 years, right? Joe Burrow hit, T. Higgins hit, Logan Wilson hit, Akeem Davis-Gaither hit, and then we'll flip it because a couple of those guys are injured. We don't know yet, but if 4 hits in a draft, you would take that all day long, especially at that type, franchise quarterback, franchise receiver, elite linebacker, and really, really good linebacker, maybe elite too. You never know if he develops. Akeem Davis-Gaither, young, I still think he has a really high ceiling. This year, Jamar Chase, huge grand slam hit. And then, second round, we'll see with Jackson Carman, but he's playing a decent amount already. So maybe he ends up being a hit, maybe not. We'll see. Verdict's still out. Joseph Osai, verdict's still out, but looked pretty good, right? Evan McPherson, certainly a hit. Deontay Smith hasn't gotten in, so we don't know. We don't know about Tyler Shelvin, but Evan McPherson hit. Chris Evans hit. They've been drafting pretty good. If you get 2 to 3 really, really good players in every draft, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you're going to win a lot of games if you do that and string together consecutive seasons with that. And Duke Tobin and this coaching staff deserves credit for what they've done the past couple of years. Let's see here. I believe that this O-line is going to be better this week. They're starting to gel, says Ken. I agree. I think they're starting to get better. And the real key is Trey Hopkins. Continuing to see him develop. I mean, he tore his ACL in January, and this dude was cleared for camp. I still don't know how he did that, how he pulled it off. He deserves a lot of credit for it. There's no doubt about that. So, if he does that and continues to improve, Jackson Carman, you hope, continues to grow. I like their 2 tackles, and I think Quentin Spain's an average starting guard, which you'll take. So, yeah, I think they could certainly be better. This is a good one. Will or can you do more of these in the future, like a podcast but live? Oh, yeah, Tanner. Oh, yeah. We're doing these live weekly, maybe twice a week. Plan to get some guests in and start to bother some of my colleagues and get them in here. So, absolutely. That is certainly the plan, is to do more of these on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. That's part of it. That was kind of our plan from the get-go. And, it was one thing or another. We haven't been able to do that. But we want a live show weekly at minimum. And, a lot of Q&A, but we'll get some guests. And, other times, there'll be bigger news. Like, there's not a lot of news right now. So I was like, all right, well, let's sit back. Let's answer questions. Let's have a drink. Right? It's water, by the way. Don't worry. And let's talk some Bengals football now that they're 3-1. So let's keep it going. But yeah, Tanner, absolutely. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And to everybody watching, that's they're coming. So let's see here. This is a good one, and I know I already answered one of Nick's questions, but it's good. Are you surprised at how well Chase has done so far through nearly a quarter of the season, especially considering the preseason he had? Yeah, absolutely. I thought he'd have an instant impact, and I still thought, and I wrote about this for all Bengals during like the fantasy football stuff. I was like, and I'm in like 11 fantasy leagues. I'm in a ridiculous amount of leagues, and I used to write about fantasy and a bunch of stuff like that, but which I don't do as much of. I do a little bit for all Bengals, but I just, timing-wise, I haven't been able to do it as much as I'd like. I was like, look, Jamar Chase is going to be a fantasy steal. Because I was at camp. I saw it. Like, we haven't even seen all that they're going to do with Jamar. Every route you can imagine. Every position on the field you can imagine. That's where he was in training camp. It's the other part. I mean, he was digesting a playbook and mentally having to figure out, okay, I need to play X. I need to play Y. I need to play Z. I need to play everywhere. And he learned it, and you're going to see him drag routes. You're going to see corner routes. You're going to see, goes. You're going to see double moves. You're going to see all this stuff. And we've seen a lot of downfield stuff, but he hasn't had any 12, 13, 14 target games yet. I think that's going to come at some point. And when that does, they're going to really unleash him. But to answer your question, Nick, I am surprised at how productive he's been, especially deep downfield. I know they drafted him to be that. But I can count the time. I mean, he already has more deep touchdowns this season in regular season games than he did in training camp during 11s. And they didn't work a lot on it, but there weren't many. I mean, 4 or 5 chances, 4 or 5 opportunities. And I think they caught 1 or 2 and connected, but there weren't many. So, yeah, I am a bit surprised at how quickly it's been instant. I mean, he's on pace to shatter A.J. Green's rookie records and, Chris Collinsworth's reception record. I think I don't know, because he doesn't have a ton of receptions yet. I'd actually have to clarify that one. But 67 receptions is it. So with the 17th game, I think he might still be able to beat that. I forget. I can't do the numbers in my head live. But anyways, let's see here. Edward says, Zach has this team playing hard. He's a player's coach that will never throw someone under the bus. I think he can bring out the best in this young team. You certainly hope so. Because and this kind of ties into the draft conversation I was having a few minutes ago about these guys being hits and the coaches saying, hey, we're going to find the guys that fit us and we're going to fit them. We're going to find our guys that we're looking for and the profile that we're looking for. Well, so far this year 3, which let's just compare it to a college team. Year 3 is the year where you're, all right, they bring in their recruits. That's when you're expecting the growth. That's when you're expecting them to really take a step forward and be competitive. Well, they're doing that. And in the NFL, it's not just about being competitive in year 3. You got to win. And they've won. They won 2 out of 3 to end last year. They've won 3 out of 4 to start this year. That's 5 wins. 5-2 is a heck of a start when you start the way Zach Taylor did to start his career, which was what, four wins and 30 games. When you're doing that, that's rough. And he certainly flipped the script a bit here. So we'll see if he can keep that going. All right. Everything goes out the window without Burrow. We should do a Wednesday night Bible study and prayer group for Burrow's health. We need the Lord behind Burrow. No, that's the case. But that's the case with Green Bay. That's the case with Kansas City. That's the case with any team like that. That's the case with Jacksonville, right? Their hopes of being a successful franchise are on the shoulders of Trevor Lawrence. That's all of these teams. Now, if Josh Allen gets hurt for 2 weeks, can Mitch Trubisky hold it down? Sure. 2 weeks. But 8 weeks, it's just never going to happen for any of these guys. And that's part of it when you have a quarterback as good as Burrow. Let's see. When do you think we end the playoff victory drought? Do you think we could do it this year? Maybe. You got to get there first. And that's the thing about it is like there's a lot that has to happen for them to get to the playoffs. There's a lot that has to go their way for them to turn the tide, including history. You're battling against it. Teams like Cincinnati, when you've lost 5 straight years and had 5 straight losing seasons and your coach enters the season 6-25-1, it is a new year, but there's a certain doubt that creeps into every fan's mind, right? And even if you're 10 years old and you remember the 2017 team, and that was the first team you cheered for, there's a certain doubt that's starting to creep into your mind. It's just part of being a fan. And so overcoming that can be a challenge. And so they need to stay healthy. They need to continue to play the way they are, plus some, especially on offense. I think they need to get better on offense. And if they do that, I could certainly see them making the playoffs. Who will play on Sunday? We don't know who's going to play on Sunday yet. I'll have practice updates later this week. I think Bates probably will play. Wujier, you hope can play, but groin injuries are always weird. Higgins, I expect to play. Mixon, we'll see. It depends. But having that Thursday game and giving him a couple more days to recover, I think is a good step. But we'll see if he's good to go. How many AFC North teams make the playoffs? I would say 3. I'll leave that one there because that's what I had coming into the season, by the way. Even with Alexander, the Packers D is meh. Bengals OL just needs to give Burrow a little bit of time and have a great chance to win. I agree with you. If the Bengals offensive line plays well, there's no reason why the Bengals shouldn't hit that 30-point mark this week. I think that's a fair, reasonable expectation. All right, let's keep going here. We're going to go for a few more minutes. Any updates on Ogunjobi? None yet that I know of, but it sounds like he's going to be good to go from what I've heard. Now, will he be out there for practice tomorrow? That's certainly the key. All right. Let's just do this so you guys can see some of my chats here. We'll do this for a little bit. Well, I don't know. It didn't overlay, did it? Oh, well. There we go. All right, there they are. They're overlaying. Never mind. I'll bring it back. Okay, has Cheeto performed better than you expected? Scott asks. Absolutely. Actually, we're getting rid of the overlay. That's ridiculous. A little too much moving up and down. Yeah, he has. He's been great. Exceeded my expectations. I think he's their number 1 corner. I love his game. I love his ability to cover and just stick on the receiver's hip. And I think that's part of why Jamar Chase is playing so well right now, because Cheeto made Jamar Chase's life hell during camp. Hell. It was rough. And, Chase had his wins against Cheeto, but it took all he had at times. And I think that made both guys better. Imagine if we had Khalid Kareem and Joseph Osai. Yeah, Khalid Kareem I think is getting closer. I don't think it's going to be this week. Obviously, Joseph Osai out for the year. Looking more. Last call for questions. Tanner asked, do you have any Built Bars right now? Come on, bro. What you talking about? What you talking about here? See this? You got to eat these. These are the Lock 15 at BuiltBar.com. 15% off. Come on now. I'm like a NASCAR driver. All right. I'm gonna start getting patches. Rivertown Inquiry's going here. Built Bar's going here. Suddenly Dwayne Wade's Covey and Dwayne, they're gonna have endorsements behind me for these live streams. You never know. I'm kidding. Did you see Wilson's breakout coming in training camp? This is a good question because Logan Wilson's been a damn baller. And I almost cussed on our Locked On Bengals podcast after the game because of how well he was playing. I was like, man, he's a bleeping baller, and he is. No, I didn't. I did not. And it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with trenches. It's hard to tell, with front seven in general in camp. But, man, is he a player or is he a player? I mean, 24 tackles in 2 weeks, great in coverage, natural football instincts, and he's just been all over the field. You see why the Bengals drafted him. They had a second-round grade on him, and I believe that. They maintained it, and I think you could see why now because he's former safety. He's got those ball skills. He's got those natural instincts, but he's big, he's fast, and he's not afraid to hit. And you see that development from year one to year two. And he looks like he could be a future star, which how many years have the Bengals been looking for a star at linebacker? Does CJ Uzomah stay involved with T. Higgins back? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, are there going to be design jailbreak screens for Uzomah? Probably not. But as a defense, something's going to be open. And I think Uzomah is going to be that guy that has these breakout games throughout the season. That doesn't mean he's going to have 6, 7, 8 catches every week. I'm not saying spend a bunch of fab money tonight on him in a fantasy league. But, yeah, I think he's going to be a steady contributor on this offense. And outside of the big three, he'll be next in receptions for guys not named, Joe Mixon. So outside of the big four, I guess. The Fab Four is what Mixon called it. And then he said Fab Five because he had to include Joe Burrow. Look at this. I just love these sweet messages. Look at this. Look at Antoine getting all sentiment. Man, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in and reading articles and listening and checking us out on YouTube and all of that. That's why I love doing this. 219 people are watching right now. I love it. I mean, we didn't set a time limit on this damn thing. We're close to an hour. And I could go, for a long time. That's why we need to do these lives, hopefully twice a week, at least once a week. And that's why you should subscribe to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Because you're going to get that. That timer, by the way, is not, I repeat, is not the end of this chat, even though it was close to, and it is close to the end. We're winding down here. All right. Let's see. James will be dressing up for the Halloween game versus the Jets. Yeah, I'll be dressed as a reporter. No, I don't know. Maybe I'll dress up as a Power Ranger. And you think I'm kidding about the Power Rangers? By the way, look at that. No, I ain't kidding about the Power Rangers. I might dress up as the Green Ranger. I'm not joking. Skep thinks Money McPherson, Mr. Evan, is Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's what that means. Hey, I'll tell you this. These young players have some swag to them. Evan McPherson in interviews after week 1 was talking about, he mentioned Super Bowl on the Pat McAfee show. This little 5th-round kicker from Florida is like, hey, we want to make a run at the playoffs in the Super Bowl. And that's what I like. Like Jamar Chase, they're business. But then they'll celebrate when they win. And he's going to be all business and very direct. But once things happen, they're going to do the gritty, and they're going to have some swag to them, and they're going to signal first down, and then they're going to get back to it, and it's next play. And I like that. From Joe Burrow on down, a lot of these guys are cut from the same cloth in that way, which is a lot of fun to watch. All right. Jackson Carman is a hit. We'll see. I think it's way too early to tell that, but yeah, we'll see. Point blank, if Cincinnati beats Green Bay, are they going to the playoffs? Well, they'd be 4-1. You got then after that. So let's do it. Let's just play the schedule game off the dome. All right. So if they get past Green Bay, it's 4-1. Then they go to the Detroit. They better beat the hell out of the Lions if they beat Green Bay, right? So that would be 5-1. Then you got Baltimore. Let's just say it's a loss. After that, I think it's the Jets. Probably absolutely should be a win. So you're 6-2. Can you find 4 or 5 more wins on that schedule? I think you can. I think you could beat Pittsburgh a second time realistically. I think you could split with the Ravens, split with the Browns. So, yeah, there are teams in there where, sure, if they get past the Packers and that's the bar, then they should find themselves. That being said, if they beat the Packers, then they should have beat the Bears. So it's really hard to do that, and I don't have the full schedule in front of me, and I'm not going to bore people with the schedule game. But, sure, I could certainly see that. Both drafts have been good, Sir Dom. Both drafts have been good so far, no doubt, 2021 and 2020. Oh, this is a good one. Who has been your favorite free agency addition of the Zach Taylor era? Eli Apple. I was just trying to get a reaction out of some of you. It's a little bit of a clickbait there, even though I think Eli Apple actually was playing okay and played pretty well on Thursday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Favorite one would probably be, I think it would be Larry Ogunjobi. And part of it is, I know how good of a guy Larry is. I covered him in Cleveland for a couple of years, and he is – such a good dude, but he was misused and miscast. And I think a lot of us know what that feels like, where you're miscast in your role at work, or you feel like you could do more, you feel like you'd be more valuable in a certain spot. And so is he the best? No. Like the best free agent addition? No, like Reeder's better than Ogunjobi. Like I get that. Trey Hendrickson might have more of an impact, or, Cheeto Awuzie might be – I get all that. But to me, Riley Reef, you could argue too, right? But to me, Larry Ogunjobi has been my favorite because he's a guy that needed this to show off his potential, and so far he's certainly doing that. Latest on Akeem Adeniji, he's been working on the practice field, on the rehab field. So, not practicing with the team yet. I wouldn't be shocked if we see him this year, but we'll see. Depends on how far he gets, how close he gets to 100% over the next, month or two. Giovanni Bernard trade miss. No, releasing Giovanni Bernard was definitely a miss. I agree. Why'd you do it? Was it to pay Jesse Bates? Was it to get another offensive lineman? Was it to add another edge rusher? No. For what? Cap space? For when? So, sure. I get that. Dalton or Fields? They suck. Play Fields. I would trade Andy Dalton. That buzzer is on Andy Dalton right now. The clock has run out on his time. No, I probably would. I would call, who could use Andy Dalton right now? Miami? Does Miami need a quarterback? Miami interested? Andy Dalton. I'm just saying, what team thinks that they could make the playoffs with a competent quarterback? Because maybe it is, maybe the Colts are interested. I don't think so after everything they gave up for Carson Wentz. But no, if I'm the Bears, you're not going anywhere anyways, so you might as well. Let's see. This is a good one. Packers are a really big game. Bengals have a tough second half stretch. This is the game where we prove if we're for real or not. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment. And, Joe Mama agrees with me on that. And I think that's a fair assessment because this is the first real measuring stick of the year. And there's been some. Every single one is one. But that's certainly one of them. If Mixon cannot play and Higgins does that completely open up the passing attack? I think you have to. I think you got to go bombs away. I think you get Chase in space, as I've been saying. I'm going to trademark those shirts, get them to Rivertown Inquiry. Chase in space is certainly something I expect to see moving forward regardless. But, yeah, you're going to have to. Look, and you're probably going to have to beat Green Bay anyways. You're going to beat them running the ball? Okay. Well, Aaron Rodgers is going to score on you like that. He just is. Like, there's going to be a couple times Sunday where you're like, defense, what defense? Because Aaron Rodgers is going to do what he does. And so this offense needs to be able to respond. And that's certainly the key to it. All right, let's go. We're only going to go for a couple more minutes here. This is a good one from Steven. What do you think is the time frame for us to be legit Super Bowl contenders? Next year. It needs to be next year, realistically. Because the window on Joe Burrow's rookie deal is going to be half over very soon this year. And so by year 3, you need to be in the playoffs, battling with the Chiefs, battling with the Bills, battling with the Ravens and the Browns. And when you look at what the Bengals are going to potentially have in cap space this offseason, let's say they go 8-9 or 7-10 or 9-8 or 10-7 in that range. Well, they should be able to add those necessary pieces to get to that next level. So next year needs to be the year where we give them a realistic chance to make that kind of run. All right, let's see here. All right, we're going to take one or two more. Do you still see the Bengals only winning 6.7 games this year? I had them winning 7. I had them at 7-10. I think they're trending above that since they've won almost half of that already. And if they win on Sunday, then yeah, I think they're going to make me eat my words, which is fine because I've only gotten one of my 4 game predictions right so far this year. Higgins was close, to answer your question, Kyle. Higgins was pretty close, but on a short week, they said, hey, let's wait. Let's get him back for week 5 against Green Bay. And I think they have a real shot of getting him back out there. All right, let's take one more or 2 more good ones here. Come on, give me some good ones. Not some Carson Palmer ones. Give me some good ones. Bill, what is that? All right, here we go. Here's one. Packers are about to go from 6th defense to 20th in defense. All right, hey, if they unleash Burrow, you could certainly see that happening. Absolutely, William. I think they have a chance to be the wild card this year. We need to lock up Larry Ogunjobi and Jesse before the season is over. It sounds good. I don't think either one happens. Sorry about that. It's just not something the Bengals do. Joel, I already did injury updates. Nothing crazy new. I expect most of those guys back. James, it's okay. You can say it. We all know Drew Sample is a bust. I didn't talk about the 2019 draft. I don't think they did that well in the 2019 draft. And that being said, if Jermaine Pratt continues to play the way he played, Jonah continues to play the way he's played, there's 2. And again, 2 hits. Drew Sample, did they overdraft him? Yeah, they overdrafted him. Is he still a serviceable player? Yeah. They should have taken him in the 4th or 5th round, and they didn't. They took him a bit early. So that's what that is. Joseph asks, and maybe we'll end with this one. We'll see. Actually, this is not. Anyway, we'll go with Eric and then Joseph. So, or Joseph then Eric. All right, Joseph asks, should the Bengals move Auden Tate with how little they use him? Maybe a trade for Dantzler or a pick. Who's giving up something of value for Auden Tate? That's my question. I mean, they don't use him a lot. His agent threw out the idea of trading him last year after the Browns game. And to me, I think he's just a role player on this offense, and that's what he is. And I know he's a fan favorite, and I get why. And I think, he has a role in the league and a role on the Bengals. But as of now, I mean, are you going to get a 6th round pick? Like, is that what you're getting? Because if that's the case, is it worth it? All right. Now, Eric, I told you I'd get to you, so here we go. Do you feel like the media is fair to the Bengals regarding coverage after game week? I mean, who's the media? Me? I mean, I think I'm fair. I think a lot of my counterparts are fair. If you're talking about certain power rankings, I mean, they're power rankings. I don't take them to heart by any stretch. You look at Sports Illustrated's power rankings, the Bengals, I believe they're 24th today. You look at, the Locked On Network's power rankings, I believe the Bengals were 16th today. So it just varies and it depends. And I don't blame people for outside people for questioning the Bengals. I just don't. There's just a reputation, fair or not, and some of it's fair, some of it's not, that they have to overcome. And the only way you do that is with wins. And I've seen it in the past. I've seen them do it. And they have a chance to continue to do it on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. No, I think it's very unlikely to zero chance, LeVar, that Joseph Ossai comes back later this year. How impressed are you with Joe's ability? We're going to end with this one, and I think it's a really good one. How impressed are you with Joe's ability to check into a play under pressure so soon in his career? It's what makes him special. Right there. That's it. Because I was on my old station, 92.3 in Cleveland, and they asked me last week, and I go on with them from time to time to talk Bengals, and they asked me, like, hey, who's better, Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield? And obviously everybody in this, all 225 of you right now watching this and everybody that watches later, it's going to say Joe Burrow probably, right? That's fair. And I did say Joe Burrow. And, up there, they're probably saying Baker Mayfield. And I cover both. I think Baker's arm is stronger, but Burrow's bigger. I think he's a better athlete. I think he's more mature. I think he's a better leader. And that doesn't mean Baker isn't some of those things, but I think Burrow has the edge in all those categories. Plus, pre-snap, he is smarter than most of the league already. In the pre-snap stuff, man, in this day and age where it is this pass first, it matters. It matters a ton. And I think that that's what makes Joe Burrow special. That's why when people compare him to Kurt Warner pre-draft or Tom Brady pre-draft or Joe Montana pre-draft or whoever it is, and he got some Tony Romo comparisons. I think that most of those people think Burrow's ceiling is higher than Tony Romo's, and it's because of his ability pre-snap to do what he does. And boy, oh boy, is it fun to watch. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how he plays. I think that's why you should be so damn excited to be a Bengals fan, because that translates, right? Like, regardless of the defense, Joe Burrow's going to see something once, and that's it, right? Like, he's going to see it, and then he's going to recognize it, and then boom, he's ready to go the next time. And so you're not going to see many 3 interception games from him. Heck, or 3 interception games on 3 plays. That was a fluke, right? Burrow's special, and I think that's fair to say, and I think that he's going to be one of the really, really good ones. I'll actually take one more because this is a big topic. Why does it I keep hitting the wrong one? Either that or your guys' chats are coming in so hot. Either way, Eric says, am I wrong for getting irked for all the love Herbert gets over Burrow? No. Don't be that. Because, look, Justin Herbert's really freaking good, for lack of a better term. He's really, 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 really good. I knew he was really good pre-draft. That's why I thought if I was the Bengals, I would at least pick up the phone. And this is going to shock some of you. I would pick up the phone when Miami called and listen to the trade offer for that first pick because of Justin Herbert. By the way, I'll clear up anything. I know that the Bengals would have taken Herbert over Tua. They had Burrow, then they had Herbert, and then Tua was third. Just quarterback rankings, and I don't read into where my hand placement was there. But my point is that Burrow was first, Herbert was second. But no, you shouldn't be irked at all the attention that Herbert's getting because he's really, really good. And your hope, I think every Bengals fan's hope should be, okay, well, maybe Herbert's the next Aaron Rodgers, but maybe the Bengals have the next Peyton Manning, or maybe they have the next Tom Brady. And those are the two guys when you look at the pre-snap, when you look at his leadership, when you look at his ability to command the room and command the offense. Those are the two comps that from my era, I think are the most noteworthy. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be this Hall of Famer, multi-time Super Bowler and, 8-time MVP, where he has, the JB9 method 20 years from now, but I'm not ruling it out. And to me, that's why it's like, yeah, Herbert can be great, but that doesn't mean Burrow can. And hopefully they both end up being great. And there's a rivalry for years and years and years to come, because I think that would be a lot of fun in the AFC to go along with guys like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, et cetera. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. The second of many live chats with you. If you're new, if you just joined, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the alerts so you get the alerts for all of our videos, because we're going to have a ton coming your way from road games, home games, predictions, all the latest injury updates this week in one spot here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. So thank you for all of the questions. Thank you for all of the banter. And until next time, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching here